Hi there, it's Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you for joining me again today. Today I have a slightly different project for you. I'm taking part in a blog hop, and it's about scrapbooking, and we're doing mixed media. Now, I'm not a great mixed media person, but I've tried to embrace it. So, I'm not showing you how I made it, as in I'm not doing it step by step. Scrapbook pages are kind of, you make them and they're done. But I will explain what I have used. So I've started with a piece of basic grey 12 by 12 cardstock. It's probably out of the whole, some of it's coming off the bottom of the page. The first thing I did was take some of the shimmery white and some of the silver embossing pastes, and with one of the spatulas I just smeared across the page. So I did the shimmery white first, kind of in this middle area, and then slightly out to the side, and then I did the silver over the top and did a bit of sort of zigzagging and generally made a bit of a mess on the back of the piece of cardstock. Left it to dry, and obviously that's the main thing, because if you don't leave it to dry, you're going to end up with a damp scrapbook page, which is not a good idea. I then took a piece of window sheet and I ran it through my Big Shot using the corrugated embossing folder. Now, it doesn't corrugate like paper would, it just runs, it just makes lines. But it gave that kind of look of ice. All of this was around a look of ice, and I'll explain exactly why in a moment. So I did that, and this piece was about, well, it was 6 inches wide by about 9 inches when I started. I have cut a piece off, but it's that sort of size. It's probably about 8 inches now, because this is 6-inch photo, so it's probably about 8 inches from top to bottom. I cut a curve because I wanted this curve here, which is this road, so I cut a slight curve just by hand, just to get that sort of movement. And then I cut tiny strips of white and silver glimmer paper, silver foil, and the galvanized sheet, which was carried over from autumn winter, and I just cut little slithers, put down some tear and tape, and then lay those on top. And I deliberately had this one coming so that it was past the edge, but I put them all underneath. So if I take my piercing tool, this is my piece of window sheet, and I've tucked everything underneath. Now, sticking window sheet down is interesting. I used quite a bit of tear and tape across, just as a cross in the middle of the embossing paste, because embossing paste is interesting to stick to and window sheet is interesting to stick. And I then put more tear and tape on the back of the photograph, and I kept it actually inside the photo in case I wanted to tuck anything underneath. Then, using the brushwork alphabet, I hand stamped Floyen, which is where this is. So it's in, it's up above Bergen in Norway, and it's Floyen. There should be a slash through the O, but I haven't got an O that has a slash through it, so I've just gone with the English version of spelling. But that's the only difference of the spelling, is whether or not it's got a slashed O. And I've done this in blueberry bushel embossing powder to get this blue, because we've got a very, very bright, deep blue sky, and we've got blue here. So to introduce some blue, I used the blue embossing powder. And then to try and mirror these strips, I used, and I will show you how I did it, I used the classic label punch, and I'll show you on a piece of just scrap card. All I did was come in from the side, and I punched and then lined up with the, well, I'll sort of do it and then you'll see. I kind of lined up with the point, and then again lined up with the point, and basically was just coming in in steps. So you can see I've got these steps just to try and mirror this kind of uneven feel, and also because the hillside is really quite steep, so again it was a kind of to mirror that. And then using the basic sequins, I've just scattered some sequins over, and that's basically it. Why this picture? I took it when I was in Norway. For those of you who know, I went to Norway slightly unplanned, but I did get the chance to go up on the funicular in Bergen. I highly recommend it if you get a clear day, which I did. And up at the top of Floyen, there's ice and snow, and that was why I wanted this whole feel of ice and snow. Not my usual scrapbooking style, but I kind of embraced it and went for it, and I'm actually quite pleased with how it turned out. Mixed media, as I say, not really something I normally embrace, but if you don't give these things a go, you just never know what's going to happen. So there we are. As I say, somewhat different YouTube video for me today. I will have some pictures of this over on my website, the link for which is below. If you've just followed the link to the associated blog post, you will find all the pictures. Plus there'll be a list of what I've used and a bit of an explanation as to how I put it together. So thank you very much indeed for watching today. If you've enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. Do hop along with the hop. There are, I think, 20 of us taking part, and the links for all of that are over on my website, which, as I say, is below. Do remember it's still Celebration. Don't miss out on free product. So shop, host or join, you will get free product. Thank you very much indeed, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.